If you had just $40 to spend on a bottle of Left Bank Bordeaux, would you choose to buy Château Chasse-Spleen or Château Meyney? Neither appears in the famous 1855 classification. Yet, after more than 30 years of collecting Bordeaux, there are still two of the wines I buy most often. Not because they are inexpensive, because year after year they deliver the kind of quality that often rivals classified growth costing 2 or 3 times as much. When I first started building my cellar, I dreamed of owning the great Crus Classés. Over time, though, I realized that some of Bordeaux's smartest buys sit just outside that famous classification. Chasse-Spleen and Meyney became two of those discoveries. They have remained fixtures in my cellar ever since, and if I were rebuilding my collection today, I would happily buy both again. The remarkable thing is that recent vintages still sell for around $30 to $40. In this video, I will compare two bottles from my cellar, explain how differently they taste, which fruit they suit best, and ultimately which one I would recommend, depending on the kind of Bordeaux you enjoy. And one final thought before we begin. While you are still discovering your preferences, buy 3 or 6 bottles rather than a full case of 12. The cellar should evolve alongside your taste. Although both are famous for over-delivering, these wines couldn't be more different. If you enjoy elegance, perfume, or silky texture, you will probably prefer Chasse-Spleen. If you enjoy darker fruits, greater structure, and wines that reward patience, Meyney may be the better choice. The reason lies largely in where they are grown. Château Chasse-Spleen comes from Moulis-en-Médoc, one of the Médoc's smaller inland appellations where gravel and clay soils tend to produce refined, expressive wines. Château Meyney sits farther north in Saint-Estèphe, overlooking the Gironde estuary. Here, gravel, clay, and sand produce wines with more structure, concentration, and longevity. The grape blends reinforce those differences. Chasse-Spleen is typically around 40 to 50% Cabernet Sauvignon, 40 to 50% Merlot, with a little Petit Verdot. The generous Merlot contribution gives the wine much of its charm and early approachability. Meyney usually contains 40 to 55% Cabernet Sauvignon, around 40% Merlot, and 5 to 10% Petit Verdot. That extra Cabernet Sauvignon, and especially the Petit Verdot, gives Meyney its firm structure and distinctive spicy character. So, even before opening the bottles, you already know they're aiming for two very different styles. Château Chasse-Spleen. If your idea of great Bordeaux is elegance rather than sheer power, Chasse-Spleen is incredibly difficult to beat at this price. The estate was created in 1822 following the division of the larger Château Bordeaux. Its modern era began in 1976 when Jacques Merlot purchased the property and placed his daughter Bernadette Villard in charge. Today, the 130-hectare estate is run by Bernadette's daughter, Céline, and her husband, Jean-Pierre Foubet. The nose combines dark berries, vanilla, cedar, smoke, and delicate floral notes. On the palate, you will find Morello cherry, blackberry, plum, tangerine, and pastry flavors layered with herbs and graphite. Bright acidity, fine tannins, and a long saline finish keep everything beautifully fresh. What I love most is the balance. The wine feels polished, elegant, and remarkably pure without ever becoming thin. It avoids the rustic edges and excessive richness that can sometimes appear elsewhere in the Médoc, and instead focuses on precision and freshness. Considering the price, it regularly outperforms classified growths that cost considerably more. The 2020 and 2022 vintages are around $40, while the 2024 and 2025 are around $30. Château Meyney. If Chasse-Spleen is elegance, Meyney is quiet power. Its history stretches back to the 13th century, when Cistercian monks first cultivated the estate, expanded during the 16th century, and confiscated during the French Revolution. It eventually passed to Désiré Cornier, owner of Gros-la-Rose and Tanbeau, in 1919. Since 2004, the estate has belonged to Crédit Agricole Grand Cru. Its 51-hectare vineyard forms one continuous block beside Château Meyney, gently sloping towards the Gironde. The nose offers red berries, leather, pencil shavings, earth, and dried flowers. The palate combines raspberry, blackcurrant, damson, game, and baking spices with subtle mineral notes. Bright acidity, fine tannins, and a long savory finish bring everything together. Compared with Chasse-Spleen, Meyney feels broader, denser, and more structured. The generous proportion of Petit Verdot adds an attractive spicy lift, while the freshness prevents the wine from ever feeling heavy. Over the past decade, Meyney has quietly established itself alongside many excellent fifth growths. The 2020 and 2022 vintages are around $40, while the 2024 is around $25, and the 2025 around $30. The verdict: this is one of those comparisons where there isn't a wrong answer. They are simply built for different occasions. Choose Chasse-Spleen if you enjoy fragrant, elegant Bordeaux with silky tannins and effortless charm. It's approachable, relatively young, ages beautifully, and consistently delivers far more than its price suggests. Around the table, I naturally reach for Chasse-Spleen when the meal is on the lighter side. Roast chicken, duck, veal, pork, mushroom dishes, or even a cheese board. Its freshness and finesse complement rather than overpower the food. Choose Meyney if you prefer darker fruit, more structure, and the classic Saint-Estèphe personality. It's richer, more savory, and rewards longer cellaring, yet remains surprisingly enjoyable even young. When richer dishes are on the menu, Meyney is usually my choice. Roast lamb, steak, slow-cooked beef, venison, or hearty winter stews all benefit from its extra depth, firmer structure, and savory character. If I were rebuilding my cellar, I honestly wouldn't choose between them. I would buy both. For around $30 to $40, they remain two of Bordeaux's greatest bargains. If you had to choose just one, would you reach for the elegance of Chasse-Spleen or the power of Meyney? I would love to hear which side you are on. And if there is another Bordeaux comparison you would like to see next, let me know in the comment section below. You will find more of my cellar insights and tasting notes on Instagram. Massive thanks for watching today, and I will see you in the next one.